Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, it certainly could be done. It should be done, you know, this is, no matter what happens. it should come, it should
Thank you. Different.
I'm my learning is mixed on the fact that coaching level, not quite there yet.
Yeah, my eyes fixed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Feel good.
They see better than they used to.
2020.
I never
Without-
see it.
Online again?
I'm teasing, but yeah, that's what everybody always does. It's really different. I'm not at the point yet that I need anything done. I'm starting to see some of the change to the plan. I don't think I can.
Right?
Fuel.
You're getting into it at home.
I don't think I want one. Put it in a circular file.
Hoping that they learn everything.
Oh, so there you go. How come I can't get into the,
I figured it out. Go into your settings.
Oh, yeah, for the
back
Wi-Fi
into a
thing.
Luddite, you know?
Well, no.
Yep, that'd be,
It-
next
have to
month will
switch
be
to the
crowded,
public.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, for that public.
I just went and asked. Mine wasn't working.
Yeah, mine does that too.
Oh, okay, yeah, this one's- Oh, okay. Is there an explanation?
For the. You're operating that way.
It's just switching to the not public one, and we have to be on the public one, and I don't know why it's default thing. That's beyond my.
Yeah.
Watch it online.
Mine said it was unable to synchronize, something.
Cool.
Got it.
I've got-
Okay.
Are you on
Wow.
now, Jim? Could you connect? Could you connect now?
I got the, I got
I
everything
didn't
up.
even recognize the architect or anything, so
So I
I
don't know
know I
what
was
that
gonna
was.
refer to you.
I just says, okay.
I'm done with mine. Color.
It's not what I heard.
What was the message on yours?
It just wasn't.
What?
It wasn't.
That's it said, my unable to sync.
That was something.
Um,
That must have been something different.
I didn't
Yeah,
do it.
must-
Karen
Yeah.
did it for me.
I can do it if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead. You have to switch to the public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Go to settings.
Where do we go to get back to main menu?
You can sweep.
Okay.
Okay.
So setting. And then Wi-Fi. At public.
But all the new iPads seem to be
So I think. it's
defaulting
connected.
to the wrong one.
This is a new one. Nora, it's been like nipping at Norm's ankles ever since he got it.
Only one more month now.
For 2 months.
2 more
Two more
months.
months.
Two more.
I am with the newspaper, but I only covered the primaries.
Oh, okay.
I only had to deal with the primaries this time, right now.
There's six.
Call the
Six.
Land Use Information Committee meeting for February sixth, 2024 order. Notice has been posted in accordance with Wisconsin statute 19.84 open meeting law. At this time, we'll open it for public comments. If they have comments to make on public hearing, they can do it that time. Otherwise, at this time, if there are any public comments. No. Okay, we'll go on. Approval of agenda order.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Anderson. Second by Mr. Sheminski. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes from December 5th, 2023 meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Mr. Blomberg and Ms. Anderson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Jason, go on to public hearing, will you? please?
Notice of public hearing, State of Wisconsin, County of Burnett, Tuesday, February 6, 2024 at 9 a.m. at the Burnett County Government Center, room 160, Town of Meenan, Siren, Wisconsin, regarding the following Burnett County Land Use Shoreline Protection Ordinances. So number one, that's not on the agenda this month. That'll be next month, map amendment 2308. Number two, conditional use permit CUP 2401 Danbury Faith Community Church of the Nazarene. Public notice hereby given to all persons in the town of Swiss, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Danbury Faith Community Church of the Nazarene has made an application for a conditional use permit for the terms of the Burnett County Land Use Code of Ordinances to construct a pavilion to be used for church activities in a residential zoning district on the parcel with address 7535 Peach Street in the RR1 zoning district, lot 1, CSM volume 16, page 19, in the northwest quarter of the southeast border, section 28, town 41 north, range 16 west. Number three, conditional use permit CUP 2402, town of Jackson. Public notice hereby given to all persons in the town of Jackson, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that the town of Jackson has made an application for a conditional use permit for the terms of the Burnett County Land Use Code of Ordinances to expand public works facility and expand the fire department facility in an agricultural residential zoning district on the parcel with address 4599 County Road A in the A2 zoning district in the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 27, and the northeast quarter of the northeast quarter, section 28, town 40 north, range 15 west.
Thank you, Jason. First one on the public hearing, conditional use permit CUP 2401, Danbury Faith Community Church of the Nazarene. Is there an applicant present? Have we had any comments from the applicant, Jason?
No, I mean, I sent them the typical letter, you know, saying to be here, at this date and time. I can probably handle it, I guess. It's not,
I think this is a pretty innocuous request.
yeah,
And,
I mean,
it may just be that somebody didn't know who was gonna come represent.
correct, yeah.
We have not had any comments, either written or by phone. have we?
Nope,
Did you hear anything from the town?
nope.
How did they go about, I see that they started building this here without a permit. How did that come about then that they decided to get a permit?
They applied for a permit to build the structure. And then, we said you can't build it without a conditional use permit, and somehow the slab still got poured, I guess. So whatever, they don't have a permit for anything. But it is what it is.
Come back to you for forgiveness.
Maybe a simple misunderstanding.
I would add that this is not the first time something like this has happened.
No.
Working with an organization like this, people
But I'm just
don't
curious.
always
you know.
understand.
And it won't be the last time.
No, and it's not malicious, it's just
No.
not
Mm-mm.
knowing
Mm-mm.
what the
Yeah.
deal is. So,
And the only reason, there used to be a church there, and then, I think in my staff report I wrote down, it looks like it was taken down between 09 and 13 based on the aerial photos. So essentially from that point on, it was just a parking lot for the church. And then now they wanna put this pavilion, so basically it's a residential district, so that's why they kind of have to ask for permission to do a commercial-ish activity in a residential zoning district.
and it's just, enumerated, it's, all of these things are expected, that unless there's some real conflict, it could be approved.
Yep.
Without any opposition by anyone, and I think that's safe to say, in this one too.
Would the contractor generally make them aware? Maybe it wasn't a contractor, maybe it was just volunteer help.
Oh, yeah, it could have been
Somebody-
somebody, somebody had volunteered for that and they didn't, were not told not to, you know, I mean, that's a good thing that can happen. Maybe they're always soliciting volunteers, donations and whatnot.
Where do they have their church now? Oh,
There's a church building right across the street
okay. Yeah, I thought,
on the north side. of the street.
Would there potentially be a condition that it just remains as long as it's church there, used as a pavilion? I mean, like, I don't know,
It shouldn't matter.
No,
it's just like if they sold it off and, you know, someone
Started to rent it out for parties, would the neighbors have a problem? I don't know if there's any.
I think the conditional use permit is specific to the use by the religious
I the church.
organization.
Okay,
And so if they would sell it to somebody else and they wanted it, even if they were gonna use it for the same thing, it's a different entity. And it, within the amendments to the conditional use law, we can limit it if we want to permit it specific to this church.
Yeah, you can limit it to just.
And
this
any,
owner.
and that's all we'd have to say, is that the approval is specific to the.
You mean this
church.
doesn't attach to the land?
No, it normally would, but you can
Yeah.
make it so if you're worried that maybe they sold it to someone else and they start having rock concerts there at 3 AM. You know, that you would say, hey, the permit only ran with the applicant. It
Yeah,
expires. when
That
they-
used to be the case.
Sure.
Jim pointed out, it always used to be the case, the property resided with, the permit resided on the property.
Yep.
But one of the amendments in Act 67 was that you could limit it to the specific user, which we could not do.
I think I'd like to do that, just, I mean, not to say that if it happened, that we wouldn't grant an additional conditional use in that
Right, but
situation,
it would
but
give us the opportunity to come back in to verify what the use will be now. Right now, with that ownership, you would expect it to be a pretty minimal benign use. But if somebody else had it, we don't know.
And
That's-
churches usually don't change hands very often, usually
No.
they have an established church.
No, it's not like the land is so valuable, they're gonna gain
Yeah.
a lot by selling it or any of
Yeah.
those sorts of things.
Are they gonna be having services and things out there or just a picnic? Does anybody know?
They could, I suppose somebody could have a wedding out there. maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of ran them through this, so then at least the neighbors had noticed, hey, there's a pavilion, and with pavilion could be an outdoor party or, you know.
That's what I mean.
stuff Happens.
Even a service could get out of hand if sometimes.
Oh, I'm
well, those revivals can be.
and I'm sure if there's. a
You think
beautiful
the
weather,
brother loves
why
traveling
not?
salvation show? Yeah,
Sure. Just one day a nice summer.
they wanted to use it next week.
Mhm.
I don't think we want to try to define what they can do there, but I think we're gonna define it to be specific to this church's use and if it is changes hands, we revisit the conditional use.
I guess
That's
I do
how I
have a
put it.
question. Have we ever, or do we ever, you know, is it a requirement that they have representation here or present?
There's been a handful of times, I think we've approved ones where applicant didn't show up.
Okay.
Someone else vote for them.
I think had a lot of contention, I don't think we would go forward without them here.
Yeah.
But without any contention,
Contention.
it's probably just an oversight again, and there's no reason to put it on. And the next agenda might be just full of all kinds of stuff.
That's what we'll do.
There are no other comments. Public, we will close the public hearing at this time. Is there a motion?
I make a motion
permit,
that
CUP
we approve this CUP with the condition that Karen,
Um,
So you'd have the condition that the permit only goes with this owner. Expires at the change of the ownership. And then you'd have item 1, obtain land use permit prior to the structure being constructed. 2, follow all sign regulations. 3, follow all local, county, state, and federal requirements for this activity. Those would be the
That's
4
exactly-
conditions.
I'd like to second that motion.
A motion by Mr. Payton, second by
And then we can have discussion.
Mr. Blomberg. Yes,
Good discussion. Is there anything, Karen?
just discussion, I guess, you know, even in the application, just for picnics and other church activities, I think you could specify for church activities.
Well, that's what their application states. So if they came
does that
in-
automatically go to the condition?
Well, I would say you submitted an application and if it's said in there for church activities and then all of a sudden some non-church activity came about, I could send them a letter, say, hey, you applied to only use this facility for church activities.
But you're only gonna find that out if someone complains.
Exactly, and what
Right.
non-church activity would they have there? I don't know. Even a wedding would be a church activity,
Wedding,
funeral.
50th wedding anniversary or something by
Yeah.
the congregation, there's various.
But the garage sale would be a fundraiser for the
Oh, yeah, I think
church.
it's a garage. That's what I said. I think it should be specifically for church activities.
I think it, but for two reasons, what Jason said by the application, but also what is allowed in under this category.
We have a motion and a second. We will have a roll call vote. Mr. Sheminski,
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Payton,
Yes.
Mr. Conroy,
Yes,
Mr. Bickford, yes. Conditional use CUP 2401 has been approved. Next, we'll move on to conditional use permit CUP 2402, Town of Jackson. Get to it. Is there a applicant to explain the current conditional use permit?
we have a representative.
Okay,
I'm with, you want me to kind of walk through what it is?
yeah, give me your name and
So my name's Devin Flanagan with Keller. The town has us doing the planning, engineering and whatnot, so, under existing parcel, I own 60 or 80 acres, and they currently have a fire station in the town hall. 2/3 of that building is fire station usage, about 1/3 of the existing building is small. So we'd be looking at putting an addition on to, the fire station, so. Couple things we ran into early on was, if it's a separate building, the cost would be obviously much higher, but then, if we try to somehow reorganize it differently, just blowing everything the fire department wants, wouldn't work very well. And then the public works garage is a structure that was set quite a bit back from the road, away from those other buildings, and that would just be for, signs, truck stuff. That's pretty much everything that it encompasses.
did we hear you?
Yeah, we have no correspondence from anyone.
I'll open the public hearing then.
It's,
Any questions from the committee?
it's safe to say the town of Jackson is in favor of this. We have that, and just for some background for the committee, the town of Jackson didn't used to own all that much land there. It was a smaller site prior to the town adopting zoning, and that's why the structure is non-conforming as the setback, and I trust that the Board of Adjustment approved their request last night.
Correct.
So I didn't imagine that they wouldn't, but you know, that they had to go through that as well. And County Highway A there has had some federal aids, road aids and whatnot that required it to have 100-foot right of way in places, but it doesn't always. And then this is a place that necks down, I think, because of the old original building, because those 100-foot right of ways to the east date back to the 70s, probably before this was ever built. In any event, I think it's clearly falls into the category of a conditional use permit that's in the public interest and follows the exemption I've been fretting over in the statute that says additional use permits do not need to be consistent with a comprehensive plan, but this is the kind that particular language intended to address. We'll be fixing that later too, but in any event, yeah, I think it's clearly a necessary project and is being done as much in the interest of the town as it can be done, keeping the cost as reasonable as possible.
I just see the violation of record, a sign located within the road right of way. I mean, is that a concern? Is that something that generally you have rectified? I guess
think
I'm
the
not,
sign is gonna be moved
Yeah,
anyway.
I think they're taking the sign
Okay.
down.
Sign will be done.
And I think they measured from the center line or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they measured from the center, cause it's like 39 feet from the center line and they probably assumed it was a 33-foot right away and put it back a few feet, but this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole separate topic that doesn't really
Yeah.
play into this, but that is odd how the right of way on
Mhm.
A is versus how the right of way on A should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a case of non-conformity, but I think it was ever formally surveyed as right of way.
No.
You know, there's plenty of room on the other side of the road, but then they wouldn't be in the
Mhm.
center. I did some looking at this too, and the center line and the section line are really well. It should be no surprise. It's one of the very oldest public roads in the county. It's right down the section line like it should be, but the right of way matter was, I don't even know if we ever got in our road records. Not that it matters, but
Yeah, I don't know.
we do have, many of them are 3 rods,
Mhm.
If the county never acquired additional right of way, even though it was supposed to, then who knows what it is? But I think we go with what we got, right, Jason?
Yep.
Any other questions from the committee? I have one. Said in there about the helipad. Now, this will not affect that at all, right?
That is a to be determined based on where the costs come in. The intent or the goal was to have a area in the way back, for, the helipad that they could keep plowed in the winter. I mean, that's kind of their main concern. We do a lot of fire and EMS, so I mean, if the roads and everything are clear, it's the middle of summer, you'd probably drop the helicopter wherever you are, but especially up here, it can have an area that's a lot safer where the ambulance can come back, so. That is one of the goals. If not right away, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I think that some of the discussion with that, I'd rather have that accessed by a county highway than using the Voyager Airport, which requires some town road travel, right?
Any other questions? If not. Sit down. Then, considering approval, these following items may want to be included in the motion. Sanitary system permit to be obtained for new sanitary system prior to construction. Old sanitary systems be properly abandoned. Land use permits be obtained for each structure prior to relocation construction. Any new replaced signs meet current sign ordinance requirements. Proper erosion control and stormwater flow control be in place. Follow all local, county, state, federal requirements for the activity. Are there any other requirements the committee wishes to include?
No, having reviewed that, I would like to make the motion to approve the conditional use permit with 6 conditions recommended attached to the approval.
Motion by Mr. Conrad,
I'd like to make a second to that as well.
second by Mr. Blumberg. I have roll call vote. Excuse me, put my glasses on. I did have surgery to replace three on both eyes in the last 2 weeks, so I can see far away. I can see the screen up there very well, but I can't see close up. Mr. Schminsky,
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg,
Yes.
Ms. Anderson,
yes,
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Payton,
Yes.
Mr. Conroy,
Yes,
Mr. Bickford, yes. Conditional use permit CUP 2402 has been approved. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Appreciate it.
Next, we will move on to number 6, certified survey map approval, McIver.
So this one is in your packet. I told this one, people are in Arizona right now. I said I would run it through the committee meeting for them. This is a formality, basically. They're modifying the exterior boundary of a plat. They're trying to combine a lot that's outside the plat with a lot they own inside the plat. So it has to go through all the standard approvals like a plat would have to. So
Okay.
has to come to the committee.
Because it's
So,
exceeding the boundary of the original plat.
yeah, so we probably do one of these a year, one every other year, maybe. Just a formality, basically.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah.
the trivia part is if they didn't, they could rearrange within the lots of the plat.
Yeah.
As long as they don't change the boundary of the plat without this.
Yeah.
But this is 236, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. It looks good to me.
So there has, and we review it and everything, so. Technical, for all the technical requirements, like any other certified survey map. But you see, there's a lot of signatures they need to get of the treasurer and the mortgagee and the owner and all those different.
It's just like a state plat.
Yeah,
And as far as you can tell, everything is in proper order
Yeah.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from committee? On certified survey map.
so Jim will have to sign this, but it'll be when they get me the final hard copies, I'll we'll track you down and get you to sign it. So,
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion
Motion by Mr.
to
Hayden,
approve this survey.
second by Mr. Shimansky.
why, Jim? Secretary.
Roll call vote, Mr. Shimansky,
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg,
yes,
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes,
Mr. Payton,
Yes,
Mr. Conroy,
Yes,
Mr. Bickford, yes. Certified survey map approval has been approved by the committee. Next, we'll move on to number 7, property cleanup. Jamesway Road and Hayden Lake Road.
All right, this, I was just gonna bring it to you guys' attention. We've gotten court orders to clean up 2 properties. We've already talked to a contractor about cleaning them up and, Nate, he talking with county administrator Nate, he basically said, just make sure, bring this to the committee so you're aware. You guys, like me, we get complaints about properties, junky properties, why aren't we not cleaning them up? And the whole backstory is, for years and years, the county would never fund any money for property cleanup. A couple of years ago, we got a little pot of money set aside to do that. So now we actually got a court order and we got 2 we're gonna clean up. So just wanted to make you aware in case you start getting phone calls or the newspaper happens to put it in the article in the paper that
it would be nice to have people become aware that, you know what, there may be consequences if you don't do this,
mhm,
and it can happen.
yeah.
So,
so is the court order initiated then by our council or how does
Well,
that
it was-
process work?
Yeah, it was me starting a citation process. How it works is we send them a citation. We're always willing to work with them to clean it up on their own. Both of these properties have had multiple years deadline extensions saying clean it up, do this yourself. We don't want to be involved. And neither one of them have. So then we went back to the courts and said, all right, we need a court order to clean it up because they're obviously not willing to do it on their own.
and
That's
there's,
how we're to this point. Yep.
depending on what the thing can be, but if it can be like a public health hazard, it can be cleaned up and assessed against property.
Well, both of these, we have court order to assess the cost of the property. So the county will recover our costs. It might not be right away. Because how it would work is, let's say one of them was a $10,000 cleanup cost, the county would pay those fees. But then we would assess it on a special charge under their tax bill, and they have essentially once your property's 3 years behind, you have to pay that or you could lose your property. So they would essentially have 3 years to pay that off. So now the Jamesway Road one, I will say there's 43 cars, 16 trailers, a couple buses. So there's a lot of scrap value there. So I think he'll probably make money because we'll probably have it all taken care of. We'll get a check back from the scrapper, I'm assuming. We'll keep our costs because we get to keep our costs, time, staff, effort to get this done. But then the rest would be reimbursed to the property owner.
The
And
property is not terribly far from here, is it?
No,
In the town of
a mile and a half, probably as crow flies.
Towards the northeast or whatever?
Yep. Yep. And then, Hayden Lake Road one, that's more of like a ATV, snowmobile, some scrap car parts. That one might have a little bit more of a cleanup cost. There's probably maybe not as much scrap value at that site.
And that's up in Swiss.
That one, is it either Swiss or Oakland? It's right on
It's
the
right
line
on the
in there.
line, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually Oakland, I believe.
It's on the south side of the road.
On the south side, Hayden Lake Road.
Yep, I think that's right.
It's Oakland.
Where the little pond is.
Yep, I know where you mean.
So, you know, these are two of probably hundreds of properties in the county, but, you know, maybe once word gets out that, again, there's some consequences here, maybe people will voluntarily do a little bit more on their own. We're hoping.
Hopefully,
Plus the county's only got so much money to cover.
Yes, yep, yes, it was only it's $35,000 pot. So it's not like $1 million to go clean up properties.
true, but if it can offset some of it,
Yeah,
then that's good. Then we
Yeah.
can find another one to target.
so just wanted to let you know, you don't have to make any motions or any approvals or anything for it. This was just information for you guys to know that that's gonna be.
Just
coming up.
an ongoing, completing an ongoing enforcement action, what it
Yep.
amounts to.
When are they gonna get started on?
Well, the scrapper, he wanted to start like 2 weeks ago. I said, hold on now, buddy. I haven't go like the committee yet. Make sure everybody's aware of this. So I'm assuming he might be calling me this afternoon maybe and saying, do you wanna meet out there tomorrow? I don't know.
You might want to take advantage of the fact that it's not winter.
It's not, the weather's nice right now, so I'm assuming he wants to probably get going.
But we're assured that it's not gonna be somebody that goes and take all the scraps and take it back to their place.
Yeah, so we're working with Gone Green out of Frederick. So we're gonna have to do the cleanups. So,
Did he mention at all what the scrap price, I mean, is it good, bad? It's up and down, I know.
yeah, and I think it depends on what type of vehicle it is too, and some of these vehicles have lots of stuff stored in them, so I don't know if there's TVs and stuff in there, we might not get as much scrap value, cause there's, you know, chargers for some of the stuff that's in there, and so, yeah, it's gonna be a process.
They have a date when it has to be done by?
Well, the court ordered it, should have been done like 6 months ago, both of these, so,
So you're finally taking
So
action.
they're,
yeah, cause they
they're
did,
technically in violation of the court order.
yeah.
Is that where I live on either of these properties?
Yep.
I was gonna say, I know James Way.
Any other comments? If not, we'll move on to number 8, carryover request for a truck.
Okay, so this was a truck we budgeted in 2023 for zoning. We missed the order cutoff in last year to order 23, and then, you know, life, we get busy, summer happens. And then I call them up and, you know, well, try to find a local dealer that has one that you could buy off the lot. Well, of course, none of the local dealers have any, because we try to buy vehicles that are kind of more stripped down. You know, we're not trying to buy the Lariats and because we don't want to look like we're driving the, you know, fancy vehicles. We're working with the government. We should be having, you know, normal vehicles, not
No
fancy rims and tires and
No
lift
King
kits.
Ranch package.
No,
No,
and that's all the dealers can find is all these ones that have these performance
You're-
packages and
exact-
things.
I gotta tell you, I pull the curmudgeon story, right? Like in Washburn County, we leased for a while before we bought, and looking for a vehicle, and guy gave us a fantastic deal on a GMC Jimmy SUV, which we were good with the tripod and
Mhm.
levels and whatnot we needed. 2-door, because nobody wanted a 2-door one that he had. He wanted to get it off the lot, somebody's hands. It was really posh, and it's like 4 bucket seats, and it had really fancy wheels, and the first thing one of the other non-committee members said, like, why does it have to have those fancy wheels? It was just dark blue, except for that, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, you're right. People look at that and sometimes it was such a nice vehicle. When it came off lease, I bought it. But
Yeah.
you know, but it was not for everybody. It was, he couldn't sell it. And you should be able to take advantage of that, but public perception
Yeah.
sometimes won't let.
Yeah.
you know.
So we're gonna carry the money over, we're gonna then order a truck here and then, but they still say it's 3 to 9 months out, 3 to 9 months when you order a
Sure,
truck.
because it's the
So,
state package, you know, that's gonna have hubcaps, not fancy wheels.
yeah,
Right?
pretty much, yeah.
That go through the state then?
Well, we buy it through their Ewald in Milwaukee is the one who is the state.
I know that's a natural resource.
Yeah. Yeah. So just carryover request, we'll have to approve, or you guys will have to, if you want to, make that motion to approve. So that'll be replacing a 2013 truck, so a truck that's
High
going on
time.
11 years old.
Yeah.
So with
I'll make the motion to approve that carryover for that purpose.
Motion by Mr. Conroy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Anderson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Land Services Property Information and Zoning Division Report.
All right, so you have the reports in there. We're still short a staff person for Heidi's position. We actually have interviews though on Friday, so that's a good thing.
Good.
So Stacy and admin was out for a couple weeks, some medical things, so I think that pushed back a little bit of our time frame there, but
Makes your numbers look better.
yes. So yeah, then the budget stuff is in there. You'll see that. I have a report in there showing about how much we plan on returning to the general fund. I should be about 290,000, I think.
Yeah.
Once the year end closes.
How's that 40,000, the truck carryover, how does that affect what you're returning to the?
Yeah,
What's the accounting?
Yeah, I took that out on my notes over there on the
Yeah, I
right
see that.
hand side, so otherwise we would have been carrying over about 370, or would have been returning 370,000 to the general fund, you see that?
Okay, you took that out already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so I took the 35,000
I got
out
it.
that we get to roll over for
Yep.
property cleanup
Good,
and then the
good.
40 for the truck.
Right.
Well, Nate will like that.
Yes, usually they do. Usually we always return some money to the general fund every year, and the reason that is we get some grant money every year and we never budget for that grant money just because we don't know how much it's gonna be.
Mhm.
And you'll notice on this report, we got $70,000 for that one grant. That grant this year is 10 grand. So
Oh.
it's a $60,000 swing. So we don't like to budget for that money because it can just be so
Yep.
up and down.
Yep.
What was that grant from?
That's it's tied to the number of recordings, registered deed recordings.
Oh.
So much of each money goes to the state and then they return a bunch of that money back to the counties as basically grants.
And they call it a grant.
Well, because like Milwaukee County pays in more money, they don't get grants back. It's for us poor counties that don't have a whole lot of recordings. Out of the 72 counties in Wisconsin, there's 40 of us or so that get.
Yeah, that's part of the land records modernization program.
It's not something that you had to make an application.
Yeah, I have to make an application every year,
okay.
but we just never know. It's based on, so when recordings are down, that pot of money is lower, so then the grant money is down.
Right, in the previous year, there was in the boom, the little
Yep.
rising bubble, it was a lot more
Yep.
transactions, a lot more property sold in a
Yep.
short window.
So yeah, we don't budget for grant money, so that's why, and then our revenue obviously was 60-some thousand higher than we anticipated. We had a vacancy, so salaries are down, health insurance, we had some vacancies, and plus some of the people I don't think took the family health insurance, only took single, so we have some cost savings there, so. Yeah, that's how you get to it at the end of the year. We did less survey work than we budgeted for.
All those costs are put in by,
Yep, yeah, all the salaries, health insurance is all put in by admin at the start of the budget season. Yep.
and if you have somebody that get a new employee that's taken out.
Yep. So you don't need to do any approval or anything of that. That's just my monthly reports. You'll see the permit numbers are in there, what we did for this year. I do have a couple charts or graphs, charts down there for you.
We're
Kinda see.
creeping back up towards the high numbers.
Yep, ticking back up again. And this, I don't, it's weird with this winter. I mean, there's sewers going in.
No
I think they
frost.
stopped the 1 week when it was cold,
Yeah.
or 2 weeks there. The week after it was cold, but now they're again putting in sewers
Is there,
again,
is
so
there even 10 inches of frost?
zero frost
Zero frost in
Really?
in the woods.
protected areas?
Yep. So so I don't know what, construction season, weight limits just went on. I don't know if everything's gonna start earlier, but then all the the contractors are like, well, I don't, I have my schedule set. I can't start building that house 3 months early because I don't have time,
Some of
so.
that too is licensing on the vehicles. They
Yeah,
don't put that stuff on the road until April or whatever.
mhm.
Where was I reading that our population may be considerably higher?
I think, didn't Wanda have
Yeah.
saying something about how the voter roll is a lot higher?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe some people from Minnesota are switching their residency over here.
Well, it did happen with COVID. A lot of people converted their cabins to year-round houses. That's why our permits were up.
Many of them
Quite a bit.
always intended to, they just did it sooner. And the
Yeah.
ability to work remotely,
Internet is
all
helping,
that stuff, yes.
more fiber around.
Yeah, that's Sid's Fiber Project has done a lot to enhance that. When I had my son and his girlfriend babysitting me for a while, they were both working remotely from my place. Without the fiber, they could not have done that. Wouldn't have happened.
Takes a little while for us, what we anticipated, with that COVID, that our population would increase. Well, it didn't, only 1,000,
Mhm.
but now it's coming through.
I think,
But when you only have a population of 15 or 16,000, 1,000, that's a
Exact-
big
yeah,
percentage.
that's true.
I
So,
think you saw some of that effect when we, redistrict
mhm.
Jackson, for example.
Yeah,
But I bet if that would have been a little bit synchronized, my district would have got even smaller.
Yeah.
Probably, geographic area,
mhm.
A lot of people are in Voyager that didn't used to be there all.
Yeah, and the census hit right when COVID was hitting.
Yes,
So,
they missed that.
yeah, all those people that moved here were not included in that census.
So those building new home, new dwellings, that's increasing and that's pretty much proving that
Well, it's,
population is.
it is, but also it's just, to keep in mind, the trivia thing that Jason and I both like to say is we have more rural fire number signs, rural addresses than population. Okay, we probably got 16,000 rural addresses. And we have, so either everybody has their own house, one person per house, or we have like 60,000 people here some of the time instead of 15,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we know which one. But I mean, that has always been something, I used that for years, arguing with state allocation of resources to counties based on population. That we have way more people here, they just aren't residents,
Yep.
right? And it's really hard to, but you guys don't need that much labor up there. You've only got 15,000 people. Yeah, but we got 500 lakes and 15,000 addresses,
Yep.
right? Figure that out. And they kind of, our jaws open and they walk away.
Yep. Same nowadays.
Yes, I know. I just gotta throw that out there.
Yeah, these traffic counts. Rather than doing them on the highway on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or whatever, why not do it over the weekend? Like in June or right before the 4th of July or whatever. Yeah.
We might not wanna know those numbers though. That might be why they don't.
I asked that question back at the county's conference regarding EV charging stations. How are you gonna allocate charging stations, population or by traffic count? Really good question. That's all the answer I got.
Mhm.
Because it'll make it here,
You
right?
would think that they
If
would
we-
have come up with that question.
Well, if people were gonna drive up from the cities with electric vehicles, they need to be able to charge, right? And the people who live here maybe would have the ability to plug in at home, but consider that.
States got into account. Stuff that's putting out for traffic was for vehicles, the charging.
Yeah, and I think they plan on, don't they wanna have like a charging route, I think up Highway 53, I believe, like the main corridors?
Yes.
I just don't know about like Highway 70.
70 east and west, 77, probably no luck.
I would assume that.
But but they're not taking into account, even though it looks like there isn't anybody living there,
Mhm.
right? There is, in fact, people there.
Anything else for land services?
Regarding website statistics.
I believe well, I'm gonna start getting those in a month or two
Oh, with the new system.
with the new site.
Okay.
Yeah, I played with the new site a little bit. It is different.
It takes a little getting used to. There's couple things we like about it, couple things not so much, but you know, with any new software, you have to learn and adjust, so.
I don't
We
remember what
still-
I was doing, but I was able to do it, but it took about 4 times longer than it used to
Yeah,
for me.
and we have some support tickets out there for things that aren't quite working right or things like that, that they're still working on, so. We had hoped we would have had a longer transition overlap, but, we got about a day or two, so.
Would you be interested in, once you're fully used to the system, maybe you are by now, doing a little tutorial?
Yeah, my goal is, and I've been telling people that I wanna have some training sessions, but I don't wanna do it till the site's functioning. Right now, there's some reports you run that it gives you bad data. And I'm like, I don't wanna do training and say, oh, here's this report. You can run, it's all wrong now, but maybe in a month it'll work right. So it's like, I gotta wait till they get all the bugs worked out before I have that. But yeah, the plan is to have some trainings.
Yeah, and maybe when
people.
there's a lighter agenda or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Anything else? Not future agenda items.
Well, we'll have four or five applications next month, I think. One campground is getting a little buzz right now, so it might be a little bigger meeting for that.
The one in Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had promised to have some draft language for doing some of the conditional use permit stuff, and I got a little start on it, but I had enough adventures with my surgery and follow-up stuff after that to not get as far as I'd hoped to.
Well, and that's on me too, cause you know, we've been short a staff person and we've actually been a little busy with the lighter winter, so it's like,
Yeah, it's
We haven't had
not
as
been
much-
like winter normally.
yeah,
I
time.
did send that same thing I sent to you about inserting some conditional use language for guidance from the plan
Yeah,
into the ordinance. I sent that to Rebecca Roberts as well.
Good.
Haven't heard back from her either, but
All right.
maybe before, when we do, and if we get any guidance from Clue, then we might wanna start to circulate to the committee, just FYI stuff, and then you can kind of read through, but I think what we're contemplating doing is sort of revisiting how we put language pertaining to comp plan as one of the considerations of conditional use permits.
yeah.
Because if we don't say we do it, then we get challenged and it doesn't say we're gonna do it, and, you know, I think we can eliminate that, and it can't be the sole reason, but it can be one of them, in my opinion.
And there's supposed to be a new shoreline model ordinance coming out. I'm kind of like, it'd be sure nice to run all these changes through at one time instead of 6 months we're modifying and another 6 months we're modifying things again, but they lost a person at the state, the guy who's normally deals with the shoreline ordinance.
The funny thing is, when we last wrote it, that same thing happened,
So
like when I was here.
I don't know if that's gonna delay anything on the state's end, so. Just take it a day at a time.
You know, that was the case where you had to submit your draft to DNR for approval. I did. He retired. But a year later, Slominski or something else, I never submitted that. Oh, yes, we did. You know, go dig around in his desk, maybe it's still there.
Anything else from the committee? If not, next meeting date is March
Aye.
5th, 2000.
I'll be gone, but I think I might be able to call in. State work, CMIC.
Oh, God.
Well, we'll carry on
Yeah, as long as there's four of you here, we'll have a quorum, so
if you can.
So if you're not here personally,
you can still call in.
okay, that's
Yeah.
part of the work.
You can come by Zoom if you would.
Yeah, I've done that on
Yeah, I think
on
Brent's
occasion.
done that a few times.
Hmm?
Brent's done that a few times, I believe.
We're always grateful when Zoom is working properly.
I might have to miss a meeting. You know, where I'm. Going down.
Hey. Nothing else? Meeting is adjourned.
Flashlight on 20 minutes.
Hold on, take them.
Oh.
This is a new world.
Thank you.
record for East
I don't
St.
know
Joe.
how to turn mine on.
Oh,
Well, I did, no, but it's a little bit tricky, it's different than other ones. Yeah, exactly, mine doesn't turn on by shaking it.
Send me a text.